TwinMotion also lets us create videos and movies. We can create multiple clips and then use those clips and create movies. We can also create multiple movies. Like images, clips can have special effects applied to them, and we can control the weather and time of day as well as camera settings for each clip independently. To create videos and movies, we will of course need to be on the media dock, and we will find this on the bottom left of our UI from here, and we will select video. Once we are in here, we will click here, create video. With one click, we will be seeing this scene here, and you will see two plus signs here. So in order to create a keyframe, what we will do is we will then move and align our view to another scene, and align our view to another scene. And once we are happy with the way it's looking now, we will click on the plus sign here to create another keyframe. So if we were to use the pink colored bar and scroll, we will find that we will be able to now see the effects of the scene. We can also use the playback buttons here and toggle. For example, this will be the play and stop button. This will be the previous button, and this will be the next button. So let's go ahead and click on play to see. Okay. On the playback buttons here, you will find that the newer version here would have had, on top of the previous play and stop button and the next button, there would also be the new video part button and the collapse expand parts. We can then begin to also change the speed of the video. Now as you can see right here, this video is going in a rather normal speed. We can accelerate the speed by reducing the amount of time. So for example, this clip is about 10 seconds. We can change this 10 seconds to say 5 seconds. This will almost double the speed now, this way. Alright, and I'm going to just demonstrate to you if we were to increase the time or double the time to 20 seconds for example, and that will slow the entire scene's video clip speed by half. It will almost double the time, therefore the speed reduces by half this way. Next, once we are done with this particular scene and we would like to create a new clip, what we can do would be, we will begin to change our scene view to another viewpoint. For example, like that. And we will click on this button here called New Video Part. So by clicking on this, we would have down here saying, at the top left hand corner, it will say Part 2. And we will continue to create or move our scene view to another portion here, this way. And once we are happy with how the scene is going to look, we will click on Create Keyframe button here on the right to create the second one. So if we now scroll the pink colored bar, the time bar again, we will find that there is a transition of the scene. There is going to be a scene change down here. And we are also able to rename these scene names. For example, by clicking on it, by clicking on the three buttons here, we will be able to click on rename and change it to, for example, scene 01. And we can do the same for this part here as well. We can change it to, we can click on rename and change it to scene 02. This way. And I'm just going to go ahead and create the third scene by, again, setting a new scene here. And clicking on new video part. And I'm going to set this as the end part of the keyframe, like that. And I'm going to rename this as scene 03. And we can now begin to drag the time bar all the way to the start and do a playback test this way. Notice now the scenes will transit from scene 1 to scene 2, and there is a change, and from scene 2 to scene 3, this way. This is how we can create multiple or different scene changes within a video clip itself. Next, we can also use the collapse and expand parts to reduce the clutter within the editing bar itself. And on top of that also, once we have collapsed it, we are also able to grab and move and change the sequence of the frames. For example here, after we have collapsed the parts, we will be able to mouse over this area here and grab it and shift them and change the sequence of the scenes. So notice now the sequence has changed from the initial building panning scene to the walkway scene here, the boardwalk scene here, and back to the building panning scene again. We are also able to create scene transitions by moving, for example, I'm just going to move the pink colored time bar close to this area, and if you would notice the transition, there is a when we mouse over this scissors icon here, there is a transition wording coming out, so we can click on that and change it to, for example, fade to black, and you will notice that when there is a transition, it will fade to black and then change over. So for this scene here, I'm going to set another example here and use the change to white option. So you will now notice that it will transit to white while changing to the next scene itself, this way. While this one changes to, this one uses a fade to black and changing while it changed to the next scene. And I'm going to shift this scene, I'm going to toggle it back to scene 3 again here. And notice once this is changed, the scene transitions will be lost and we will need to reset this again. So I'm going to change this one to fade to white while I change this one to fade to black, like this. See, notice now the scene transition reappears again. It fades to white while it changes to the next scene, and this one fades to black while it changes to the next scene, this way. Next, we're going to talk about the editing of the clips itself. Now, if we select one of the clips here, in one of this scene here, we can click on the three dots here and click on expand part. This will allow us to concentrate and work on the parts that we want to be editing, or the clips that we want to be editing at this stage. And inside here, we can click on settings, and we will be able to see or make changes to the renderer, the lighting, the location, the weather, and the camera. So let me just go back again. We can click on back to media to go back to the scene editor again, and we can now begin to make the change by clicking on the three dot buttons here again and click on start and ambience. So once we click on this, we will be able to see that there will be a start and the end here. The buttons will now appear. So what we can do is we will be able to click on the start button here, and we can go to location and to change the time of day. So I'm just going to change this one to, say, a night time, and then I will click back to media and I will click on the end and click on location again, and this time round I will change the time to a daytime, like that, for example, and click on back. So notice now, as the scene transits, as the time bar is moving, the time of day will change also this way. I will just do a playback to show. You can now quite clearly see that there is a transition from the night time to the daytime. And I'm going to go ahead and next collapse this and expand on scene 2 to demonstrate another special effect. So I will just expand this part here, and the same thing, I'm going to click on the three dot button here and click on start and end ambient. So you notice once I've done this, the settings word is gone and the start and end buttons will appear. So I will click on start, and this time round I will change the lighting and I will set the sun intensity from very low, and I'll go back to media to the end here, lighting, and I will set it to, say, very high, like that, and increase the ambient a little bit, and I will go back to media again. This time round, as the time bar is moving along, we will be able to see the transition of the lighting itself. Let's take a look. Next, I will proceed to scene 2 and try to create a weather special effect. So again, I'm going to click on start start and ambience, and at the start I'm going to click on settings. I'm going to click on that and look for weather, and I'm going to change the weather from sunny to, let's say, rainy here, and I will click back to media. While at the end here I will click on it again and look for weather and change this one to sunny, like that. And when done, I will click back to media again, and we should now be able to see the effect from rainy here to sunny. So I'll just do a playback and see. Like that, it's sunny, it's rainy, and it transits to sunny again. When I'm done, I'm going to just select this scene and collapse it and work on the third scene and click on the triple dot here and click on expand part. So for this effect here, I'm going to click on start and end ambience and click on start again, and this time round I will look for camera and look for the field of view here. So we can change the field of view from very wide to very narrow. So I will start by setting this from very wide and going back to media again, and at the end here click on camera and go to very narrow this way, and then click on back to media again. So let's take a look. We can now see the effect that it is very wide. It's going to start from very wide and it will transit to going to very narrow towards the end of the clip. This is how we can add special effects to the various clips itself. So after we are done with the third scene already, we can also do the same thing by clicking on the triple dot here and then click on collapse. And the next thing is, after we are done with it, we can begin to render the video as a clip itself. So we can click on the button here under export and we will look for video, and we will, as we have only created one video clip, so we have only one down here. Alright, so I'm just going to show you an example again by going back to the media again and look for video. Now with this also, we can also create another video again here. So I'm just going to do a quick example just by looking at here from front to the back, and then I'll click on add keyframe here. So what's going to happen is this video will now look like this. So it will turn basically 180 degrees like that. Alright, this way. So, and when I'm done with this, I will just click on go back and click here under the breadcrumb button here, and you will now notice that we have one video and two videos here. So I just want to show you the difference when we click on export and under video portion here. So once we have this, we will now see video 1 and video 2. Alright, so we can click on select all and render. What will happen is when we do this, select all and render, so I will click on export, is it will create, we have to designate a folder that we want to store the video output to, and we will click on select folder. So what's going to happen is it will render two video clips this way. It will render into two MP4 files. Alright, once the rendering is complete, you will now be able to see in your output folder that there will be 2 video clips being created instead of one continuous clip. So if we are targeting to create a one continuous clip, it is then important for us to go into the media, video, and keep all our scenes within that one video clip itself. So we should be creating various scenes within this one video itself instead of creating, let's say, multiple videos. Because when we create multiple videos, the final render output, it will come out in various files like that, and we will need another video editor to recombine all these video clips together.